What is happening? This is very different.
I don't know how to start this episode. You're supposed to start it.
I know. Well, here I am. I'm here. I'm starting it. I'm just a little overwhelmed. There's 45 people in this room now. It's changed a lot.
You finally got your audience.
I finally got my audience. Right. No
I'm telling you, Ma, one day they're going to come and watch me.
Just I have to pay them, Ma. That's the one thing they didn't tell you.
Hey, Ma, why didn't you tell me that early on?
I would have paid them a long time ago. What's going on, guys? Everybody having a good time?
Having a great time.
This is very different. Skid, you're very well dressed.
Yeah, you can't. If you're listening on audio, you can't see, but I look amazing right now.
You just come from teaching classes at Columbia?
Yes, I have just made tenure.
Oh, congratulations!
So thank you.
That was fast.
Which is amazing. You just graduated like a year and a half ago.
I know.
With an honorary degree.
They
usually don't tenure them.
That's how good I am at whatever it is I do.
I like the jealousy from Matthew. It's like, that was fast.
I've been adjuncting half my adult life.
Old adjunct.
Just got to get yourself one of these smart outfits. Be rocketing up that track in no time.
He's in a tweed jacket not with elbow patches, right? No elbow patches.
I couldn't find one with elbow patches.
A nice maroon V-neck sweater and a shirt and tie.
Yeah.
So handsome.
Thank you.
Be very, very hot.
It is.
Under these lights.
I plan to be.
Nice to see you dressed up, Ellie.
Well, I found
really-
this upstairs in the office.
Really?
You stole it?
She's wearing merch. Why are you being mean?
Wow. Yeah, it's true.
She's wearing
Wait, who are you?
Yes! Finally, we have
Who am
Sydney.
I?
Wait, I don't think we've even introduced you to the other people at the table. We started this so late. Sydney Emanuel, everybody. Welcome to the show.
Hi, guys. Hello.
Wow.
So awesome.
Why would you do this?
You're, again, paying me. So.
It's true. In
very blunt.
Skids Rubies.
Yes, exactly.
She agreed to the rubies.
I was very tempted by the rubies. No, it's great to be here. I'm so happy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm sitting next to Joe, which is super weird coming from EchoQuest, because now I'm on Joe's side, and I want you to do really well.
Right. Now we're teammates in this endeavor.
Some things I should warn you about.
Here we go.
Oh, boy. Okay.
He tends to slam the table so hard that my computer flops open.
So now that I'm here, I'll take the brunt of that.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, Sydney is
Make sure
sitting
that-
between
Yeah,
us. I think it's one of the greatest days of Matthew's life. He's finally put somebody between him and I at the table.
She's going to walk out of here with a black eye on her left side from all this and dice.
You may or may not wake up in the middle of the night with just the sound of Joe's grunts and roars. So you're just like,
It was just a nightmare. It's just a nightmare.
Well, Sydney is on our newest show that we released. That's our Patreon-only show, EchoQuest Super Dungeon, which Joe GMs. This is Emerald Spire converted to Pathfinder 2nd Edition. Sydney is one of our new additions there, and I just said I need someone new, and I called you up, and you were like, "Yup."
I was so excited that you asked me, like truly, truly excited, because Androids and Aliens is such a fun show, and you guys, from the sound of it, from listening to the podcast, I'm like, they're having a blast. I want to have fun.
Yeah.
I want to be a part of that. Not that EchoQuest is not fun.
No, that's what I was hearing on the show. Real drag.
No.
I want to have fun.
It's a
You made
different
it very clear what you meant.
Well, all right. Next recording's not going to go well for me.
No, don't worry. The other thing is you can shit on Joe all you want, and he can do nothing to hurt you.
He's powerless.
Until next recording of
Right.
EchoQuest.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
It's like seeing a teacher outside of school.
It's like a dog
It's
walking
like,
on its
hey,
hind
what are you going to
legs.
do? You have no power over me. It's like, yeah, until Monday.
Like all your students watching right now.
Exactly.
They're like, what a nerd.
Nobody better be late on next Tuesday at 9:45.
You're going to get stuffed into a locker on Monday.
I know.
What class are you teaching, Skip?
Intro to something.
Intro to something.
Intro to
It's
improv.
It's a philosophy class?
Yes.
Something.
Yes. Intro to something.
I must
very
say,
popular. I'm
I
one of the
must-
most popular professors on wherever it is I teach.
He begins each semester and he goes, "Why are we here?" No, seriously.
More importantly, why are you all here?
Why are you all here?
And then you're silent for the next hour.
Yeah,
and they just
and
have
then
to
they
write.
have to think about why they signed up for the class, and then we all leave.
Right. And
Tuition
the
well
only
spent.
correct answer is why not.
Exactly.
Oh,
And you're
wow.
like A, and you never have to come back.
Yeah,
for
it's
the rest
great.
of the
He's
semester.
tenured. He doesn't have to grade those papers.
I know. I'm tenured.
I know
He gives
a
that to
kid,
Matthew, his assistant.
a kid did like an essay once, and it was like asking, they were asking the question, what is bravery? And the kid wrote, this is. That's all he wrote,
Wow.
and it's handed in. But then he got an F.
Yep.
Ooh.
And was thrown in jail for his bravado.
Yeah. This happened in Sweden, after all.
Yes, and he cried all the way to jail. Where's your bravery now?
Do they give Fs in Sweden?
No. IG is the F in Sweden.
IG.
What does that stand for? What does that mean?
Not pass.
Oh,
I was
I
like,
thought.
but
so
of course.
Does it have anything to do with the bounty hunter droid
no
classification
IG,
from
IG.
Star Wars?
And it's also not anything
yeah.
to do with Instagram, which is also IG in the cool circles.
It just means idiot. Goof.
IG unit.
Get out of my class.
Idiot! Go! Get out of my class!
Idiot, go.
I must say though that this is one of the happiest days of my life because Sydney is here. I was waiting
Just
by the
because
door.
Sydney's here?
Yes.
Or because there are zillions of people watching.
Oh well,
you?
that too. But also, I was waiting by the door as Sydney came here.
It was so. I got out of the elevator and Ellie's right there, and she just runs up in a hug. She's like, "Hi!" I'm like, "You're greeting me at the door." It was so sweet.
She was like a kid whose parent had just come back from Afghanistan.
Yes.
Seriously,
It's a soldier
we
surprise.
We were in the green room, and the thing buzzed, and Ellie was like, "Is that Sydney?" And she ran to the door, and I was like, "Well, that's the best greeting she's gonna get here."
Yeah. No. Everyone else was like, "Hey, what's up?"
Yep.
Hey.
Yeah, what Skid is trying to say is that living with Troy is like going to war.
That's
Well,
right.
here's the good thing, Sydney. With Ellie here, the bar is set so low.
Oh.
You really can only impress.
So mean.
So he's got such tiny shoes to fill. Have you seen these feet?
Yeah.
That's
They're
why
very
the toilet
small.
paper holder is right by your feet
Right.
in our bathroom, actually. Because
Ellie,
of
just,
Ellie.
just wait, Ellie.
Actual
I'm
bar.
new. Everyone will turn on me. You'll get higher in the rank. This is why I'm brought in. It's totally cool.
Well, I feel like a little confident because I'm like the seasoned veteran right now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sydney.
you used to be the new guy.
The old
Yeah.
clubhouse leader.
The battle-hardened sergeant.
Oh, how the turntables.
Grizzled veteran.
And now you could take all those years of torment and turn it around into cruelty against the new person.
There you
Yeah,
go.
That's
it's
not how
called
it works.
hazing.
It's all about kicking up. I'm gonna kick so far up that Troy is gonna remember it for the rest of his life.
Get out. Get out of my studio. Well, I'll tell you, in addition to Sydney, we have some other new personalities on the network.
Oh, yes.
That's true.
Oh, baby. Sydney's just the tip of the
I
iceberg.
know. It only gets better from there.
Yeah, it really does.
No.
Aww.
This is the other thing they do, Sydney, the backhanded compliment.
Yeah, I'll take it.
We're
That's
experts
it.
at it.
Okay.
We have needed for a long time someone with a real grasp of how to play the game.
Right.
Sure, we rake in millions doing this, but we don't know what we're doing. So we said it's high time we bring in someone who is a professional, who knows how this game works inside and out. So I'd like to introduce you all via voice to David Winters. David, welcome to the show.
Hello.
David.
Long-time listener, first-time caller.
David, I met you a couple years ago at PaizoCon.
That's right.
And I remember pulling Joe aside and being like, Joe, I don't know who that guy is, but I like the cut of his jib. And I know jibs.
He's gonna make it someday.
That kid's going places.
I thought you were going to say, Joe, I don't know who that is, but we need to get him thrown out.
He
He made get him out of the glass.
He made a pass at me, and I'm uncomfortable. And then I slipped in my room key.
Sounds about right.
David, there was just something about your style. You were running games in the glass cannon room, and you had like an insane. You were running a game. I don't know what the game was,
It
but
was Heroes from High Delve.
and there were no pawns for it. So you were like, "Oh, look, I made all of the pawns, and they looked better than the pawns that Paizo puts out for their
Well,
best cherries."
Well, I wouldn't go that far.
Well, it's
they
for
still pay the bills around
it's for the
here.
story's sake. Just say, yeah, they were better.
They should hire him.
It was just stick figures on paper. No, but I was just like, I just like the cut of that guy's jib, and we stayed in contact. And then when we were looking to bring in a pro, it was a no-brainer. But
think
you're
pro-
more of a Pathfinder guy.
I am more of a Wait, this isn't a Pathfinder podcast?
Yeah.
Got you there.
All the prep we've done.
That's the best news for us possible because we don't have to worry about the rules.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, I'll fit right in.
you've had a few weeks. I'm sure you've memorized everything.
Sure.
No, but I mean, this is going to be fun. You sat in on a couple recordings that we did and kind of got a sense of our tomfoolery and our flow. And I think this is going to be fun, not only to be like, excuse me, Skid and Joe, that's incorrect, but also for us to be like, David, how's this work? And you can be like, hold on, I don't know. Or you can be like, here it is. I think this is going to really help, especially for the live experience, just to keep things moving.
I can't even tell you how excited I am.
Huge.
For this. Because our last couple episodes, just to lift the curtain of A&A, David was here, and he wasn't talking yet. we didn't have a microphone for him yet.
Right.
But he watched, observed, and came up to us
And
right after
gestured
the session. And
the hand
and
signals.
did a couple hand signals. And then right after the session came up and was like, so you can't fire a sniper rifle that range without taking a move action to steady it. And I just looked at him long, and I was like, that's awesome. And
then
makes
shut
perfect
up.
sense.
And then he kicked
right.
me out.
And then I was like, get the hell out of here.
And there was a
Troy, I don't like the cut of this guy's jib.
It was a backhand. Skid.
I just want to point out that Ellie had to look. She's looking up the word jib on the internet, and she's gestured to me like, "What? I don't get it."
She gets an IG on that.
Oh, idiot! Go.
Oh, man. Well, it says that
Jib.
it's a sailing vessel.
It's
No,
idiomatic.
different.
It's an idiom.
A sailor.
Is it like
A sailor?
Sexy?
It's not sexy. No.
Okay.
No, but it can be.
Jib.
Why
Is it like a pajamas?
No,
a bit.
just
No. Okay.
stop.
All right. Okay.
You're gonna get weird. I know where you're gonna go with this.
That's it. It's too early in the evening.
I don't. In terms of jibs, I don't like the cut.
Wait, Troy, you're from New England.
I am.
Have you sailed?
No. I've been on a boat, but I didn't say.
What?
I didn't hoist a mizzen mast.
In the Charles River.
I took a boat on the Charles. No,
Lobster
I've been on a sailboat, but I've never hoisted any mizzen masts.
So you never cut a jib? for
No,
instance?
I've cut a jib.
Can you cut a jib? Or do you just like admire the cut of
Show
a
me a
jib?
jib and we'll talk.
All right.
Okay, yeah. Show me a jib.
I'll
Actually.
call you
Ellie's
later.
literally like, I don't know what it is.
I'll text you a picture of my jib.
Actually, a
Ellie.
sail.
No, no,
Whoa,
no.
Hold on.
whoa,
My
whoa,
jib,
whoa,
I said.
whoa.
All right, everybody calm down.
Oh no.
Guys, it's not even 9 o'clock. There might be children watching. If they are, you're terrible parents.
Put them to
You
bed.
shouldn't be watching.
Yeah.
David, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Yes,
David.
David, we're very excited to have
Yes.
you.
I look
Yeah.
forward to getting
I
into
am
fist
very
fights
excited to be-
and
Yeah, there's gonna be
Yeah.
times where you're really lauded, and other
Yeah.
times where you're really hated.
Yeah.
I
Well,
think
I'm gonna be
mostly
on
hated.
Team David all the time. Hashtag Team David against Troy. I'm gonna
That's
ask him every time Troy tries to rule something. I'm gonna be like, "Is that true, David?"
But what happens when he rules against you?
Well, then
Ignore him.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Not
Like
all-
Troy is obviously GM.
Yes, all the Swedish pastries in the world won't save you then. In addition to David Winters, we
You're
also have a producer extraordinaire. I tweeted out today that she is way too overqualified for this position.
That's true.
That's certainly true.
Very true.
Give it up for Ann Richmond. Ann!
Hey!
How are you, Ann?
I'm so great. I also happen to have sailed on a tall ship in high school.
Whoa.
So, bringing it back to jibs.
Gibbily speaking.
Jib is the foremost sail.
Yes, it is.
And
Ellie
the
is
cut
still
of the
furiously
jib-
looking this stuff up.
She doesn't believe
The
Anne.
cut of the jib is how, like, what the angle at which you're
You sail your
angling
ship.
it to catch the wind.
Yeah.
Ah.
Which makes sense. It's how you
So when
move
you
through
say
life.
I like the cut of his jib, it means he's an efficient salesman
Smooth
or
sailor.
sailor
Ooh.
human.
Ellie, is
Can
that chair getting warm?
Well, no, it
Because you
says-
might be trading places.
Well,
Except you'll be right out the door, dear Lorenzo.
well, I got a definition of jib, a Canadian slang word for methamphetamine.
No,
Can I
No,
point out
no.
that Ellie
Got any
is,
jib, man?
Ellie is getting this definition from
Got any jib, eh?
UrbanDictionary.com. So
Exit out. Exit out of the
just
window.
good, yeah.
Close the
Get out of there.
browser.
Got any jib, buddy?
Hey man, this jib has been cut. You cut it with something, man. Baby laxative or something.
I don't like the way he cuts Jib.
I don't like the way that guy
amazing.
cuts jib.
And is it true that you matriculated? You went to the same college
I
as
did.
Matthew Capitacasa?
I did. Our paths collide once more.
Once
The
more.
last
Wow.
time that we saw one another was either in the classic musical parade or rolling around on the floor trying to feel feelings at the experimental theater wing.
Wait.
Scandalous.
Which story to pick? Musical parade
No,
or
no,
rolling
the-
around for feelings?
The musical called Parade.
Ah, damn it. I
It's
really...
also
She was in it. I was
not a comedy. It's very sad. So
Oh.
The other one. Do
Yeah.
the other one.
Yeah,
Tell
the
the
other
other
one.
story.
I just was picturing Matthew with a baton dancing.
I mean,
Parade.
there is a parade.
Catch him.
Then it gets sad, but you'll
Wow.
have to watch it one day.
Did he get beat up in college by the cool kids? And were
I
you
will
one of-
not
Were you one of the
know.
greasers?
I was the furthest thing from cool, so I
I'm
was-
just picturing Matthew Capitacasa walking across Washington Square Park. Like, there he is! Get him! Just like, oh,
Throw his plays on the ground. Where's your plays now, Smarty?
That's
Throw
a
him in the
bridge so
fountain.
far.
That is a vast simplification of what happened.
It was far more traumatizing. And you also know Eleanor DiLorenzo.
It's true.
You are well connected.
Yeah, I worked with her husband at one of my former vocations, and Ellie came in, and she looked like Usagi from Sailor Moon, and I was like, "That's it, we're best friends now."
That's the nicest thing.
And then
anyone
her
has ever
husband
said.
got the mail order bride he purchased.
Oh.
I'm assuming that's where you were.
Boo.
No? I'm going to stand by that joke. I'll stand by that one for the next 3 hours. Matthew doesn't like that one. No?
Oh.
Paid
He's-
for and bought. DiLorenzo, and you know it.
Doubling down, aren't you?
Yep.
You
What's
know
with all that
he's-
jib I took before the show?
Oh.
All right.
Oh my God.
Speaking of the show, we got to get to this.
Let's do it.
I mean, we're gonna just.
This isn't the show?
This is the show, guys. We'll see you next week. We are live, obviously, and that joke that might be cut out in an audio podcast
Would almost certainly be
is gonna
cut out.
stay in. Can't make fun of mail order brides, Grant. Grant's on his sixth.
You weren't making
No,
fun of
okay.
mail order brides. You're making fun of Ellie.
Oh, that's no good.
Wait, how many mail order brides do you think I've had?
I said 6. I don't know.
I'm just always rolling on the floor trying to feel something with them, just like Matthew and Ann.
And then you put on that video of Parade.
Oh.
Guys,
Anne is a wonderful actor, by
this
the way.
is all
Yes.
over the
Oh.
place.
And a
already.
singer.
It's true. She was in the musical Parade.
Oh,
That's what she was talking about. I saw her.
I've heard
in
good
the musical-
things about the musical parade.
yes, especially the one at NYU in the fall of 2 years ago.
Troy, how
Could be
threatened
small.
are you by the new people? How do you feel like your power is getting diminished?
How nervous are
Exactly.
you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Oh,
Because if I don't like what's going on, I'll just make something up and change the story like I did last week.
Yes. Fuck that
Really?
Yeah.
Busted.
Busted.
Things are going to change a lot now because there's 6 players. There's 3 more than I'd like there to be. So if you're following along at home, that monster doesn't have that stat blocks that many hit points. Shut up! I'm changing the ACs. I'm changing their saves. I might be adding a little resist fire 5 here and there. You shut your mouth and you save your emails. Maybe they're getting some more hit points. I got 6 people to deal with. Not to mention David and Ann.
I think it would be so amazing if we were like 20 points of damage. You're like, still going. All right.
Just wait.
Dax is up. And then you hear David come over. He's like, Troy, the creature's dead.
The creature started
Well,
with
no.
13 hit points.
We've been talking about this all week. So.
But David and I have some good back and forth.
David's like, I think you could go higher on that AC. Go higher.
Well, we had a long discussion about it. I was like, I can't add that much. He's like, why don't you start here? And I'm like, all right, David.
Thank you, David.
Well, it's like
Um,
having a
very
co-GM. I think that's really cool.
I mean, this is what I'm excited about. I still, that's why I didn't prep anything tonight. I figure I can just ask David.
Oh,
We'll
What's
see what
next?
happens.
What's next?
excellent.
What's in
Guys,
that room?
Matthew, shut your mouth. This is a time for one of your plays. We're going to get serious. We're going to get serious. Right after this quick word from our sponsors.
Bye.
Oh,
dear.
man.
Whoo! We're just going to jump right in. We are 95 episodes into this show. If you want to find out what happened up until this point, go listen to the show. It's all there. And if you got a long commute, it goes by pretty fast. But the story thus far is a long one. However, the nuts and bolts of it are pretty simple. A strange chunk of rock was discovered floating near the atmosphere around Absalom Station, which is sort of like the nexus of the Pact Worlds. While a couple local factions disputed over who it belonged to, our heroes were tasked by the Starfinder Society to go figure out what this chunk of rock was. Over time, and various books of the adventure path, they discovered that it wasn't a rock after all, but a chunk of an ancient superweapon, perhaps, known as the Stellar Degenerator. This news becomes public. And now everyone wants to get their hands on it. The Starfinder Society wants our heroes to track it down before it falls into the wrong hands. Meanwhile, a doomsday cult, known as the Cult of the Devourer, and an evil undead corpse fleet from the planet Eox, a planet of just undead, they want it as well. What do they want it for? Probably not the same thing as the Starfinder Society. And both of those groups have continually stayed one step ahead of the PCs. Now, the PCs, aboard the ship that they've named the Sarissa, find themselves in the deepest of space, in the vast, in a system known as Nagior on the floating city of Istamak, or Little Istamak. You're going to listen back.
Right.
A primitive civilization.
What's the name of the planet that's over?
Nagier 6.
Nagier 6.
That's the
Istamak.
system. The planet is
Little Istamak.
Big Istamak.
Big Istamak. That's right.
Big Istamak.
And Istamak, the people there, it's a primitive civilization.
We don't even remember our own inside jokes.
There's too many of them. This primitive civilization worships their far more technologically advanced ancestors, and it's also a city in the midst of civil turmoil because of a visit from the cult of the Devourer before our heroes got there. Now the city is split over what happened. Our heroes are trying to find out where this stellar degenerator may be, and their search has led them to a part of Istamak known as the Broken Lands. Last week, you barely survived the dangerous crossing of these broken chunks of land to get to a building which you hope contains clues to find a back way into Istamak's temple, a temple which may or may not hold the answers that you're looking for. The answers that maybe the Cult of the Devourer or maybe this Undead Corpse Fleet already have. Who knows? But just as you're about to finish your crossing onto this larger chunk of land that had this building, a portal opened up. 2 Drow walked out and stole the unconscious body of their Marikoi companion, Pigi. Ellie, you may now leave the table and the podcast.
It's like an episode of Survivor.
I'll wait.
I will. I will walk out of here if you're serious.
Go on now, go. Walk out the door.
You know, it occurred to me
Don't walk away.
listening to that episode that some of our listeners, we took it for granted that they would all know what a drow is.
Yeah.
They might not.
True. I didn't even think of that.
Susan,
is-
Nick's
oh.
sister-in-law, for
Right.
instance, may not know what a drow is.
It's like a non-geek.
Well,
Right.
Skid, please. Do you have some slaining to do?
I do.
Oh.
Nerd.
Skid's got some explaining to do. It is time for nerdy.
Drow.
So
Drow edition.
So the
Drow.
drow,
Drowsy.
Different. It's a Pokemon.
the drow are a subset of elves that turns evil and were driven underground into the Darklands, and they have like jet black skin, white eyes, and we don't know their position in the Starfinder universe, like thousands of years in the fantasy world's future. We don't know.
can I correct you?
Sure.
Oh,
Please.
Who's the
Ellie's
teacher
got
now?
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for Swedish knowledge.
Time for Swedish knowledge.
IG.
There was such an aggressive Swedish on that. Swedish knowledge.
Please, correct Skid.
Well, they have. They actually moved on to the planet Apostai,
Apostai, yes.
Apostai, and they have this matriarchal system there.
That's always been true. Yeah.
Yeah, and they're unbelievably.
They were worshippers of the spider goddess Lolth.
Yep.
And their entire society is matriarchal. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, not to reveal anything, but PG getting captured by them is bad news. PG.
She has a
Bad
history
news
with
bears.
the Drow.
She does.
Do we
She
know
does.
that, or do we as players know that? Or do we as characters know that?
The listeners, like you guys as players, should know that. I think.
Well, it's funny because last week when it happened, you had said, at least on air, that you hadn't discussed it with the players. If you discussed it with anyone, you may have discussed it with Skid's character, Dr. Friss,
Yeah.
because he's your therapist, but maybe you didn't. I
Well,
don't know.
I don't think I discussed it with the characters, but I think we had like a flashback at the end of.
Well, yeah, there
book
was
three.
yes. The
Um,
flashback happened. The
yeah.
audience knows.
The audience.
Matthew knows.
Yes. Yeah.
But his
But I don't
Vesk
think I don't think any one of them knows because as far as PG was concerned, everyone she ever knew or had an issue with were dead. Because she's 100 years 100 years in cryo and all that stuff.
right.
But this is not great news for her.
Nope. Now she's gone forever. But
I also very
here you
quickly.
sit.
I have a theory about where the drow come from. I think it's was inspired by a distinction that Tolkien made among his elves, among the Calaquendi and the Moraquendi, the light elves and the dark elves. However, in his lore, the dark elves are not dark or evil. They were just the ones that had never seen the light of the west of Aman. So
I'll tell you something. You could be talking complete nonsense, but in that outfit, I believe every word.
this
you
is
said.
why my classes are so popular.
Don't you just? He commands respect.
Yeah, that's why I was so afraid of saying something. You know, I was like, can I say something?
In 2 weeks, I want you to wear the same outfit.
I will.
And anything you know, I want her to wear your.
Oh,
outfit.
okay, yeah. We'll see. This will be a cute little control experiment.
Oh yeah, and you'll wear this.
Right.
I'll wear
But if
that,
you wear
and
the
then-
same styles, you look like you got like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Yeah.
Anyways, we finished the episode with the remaining heroes, sans Pigi, noticing the grass around them start to sway. Blackout.
I thought we were gonna play.
Eyes pop open. Large, almost reptilian-like black eyes surrounded by little tufts of fur. The eyes open with a start and dart from left to right. We back away from the eyes to see PG strapped to a table. You've got straps around your ankles, knees, waist, upper body, neck, the top of your head, your strip of your armor, your clothing, your weapons. PG, you can barely move. Fluorescent lights buzz and whir around you in a relatively dark chamber of a ship. You think to yourself, it's got to be a ship, because even though you are completely still, you can feel that you're on something that's moving very quickly. There are all sorts of tubes running from various parts of the room to IVs piercing deep under your skin. You feel completely disconnected from your body, almost like you're looking down on yourself, strapped to the table. A door whizzes open. Future door. Like that, man. Little future door sound.
Future door.
Everybody knows what the future door
Classic
sounds like.
future door.
Space door.
Sydney, quiet down. Don't ruin my flashback. A dark-skinned drow enters and slowly walks over to you without saying anything. Again, it just cocks its head and looks you up and down. You feel more violated by the look than you do by all these needles piercing your skin. He or she, can't quite tell the sex of this drow. They move quietly over to a table full of instruments and pick up like a tiny metal cylinder the size of a pen. Walking back over to you, the drow traces its finger from the base of your neck all the way down to the bottom of your abdomen. And then, while leaving their finger there with the instrument, they point at it, and a thin laser just fires out at your skin. And the drow begins slowly tracing the laser back up your body, and you scream with every last bit of your energy, and the last thing you remember before you completely pass out is the smell of burnt fur. That screaming continues, and then new eyes open up as if that scream was someone else's nightmare. We now see a figure lying alone in bed. You can see the sky outside the window is still dark. A hand from the bed reaches over and presses something on the end table, and the face of a clock appears in 2 dimensions midair above the bed. You can see that it's very early. The glow from the clock sheds light on a photograph on the end table of Mac Donovan and what's got to be her daughter. Maybe at a graduation ceremony, can't quite tell. It's not clear. The clock light fades out. Future fade out sound.
He thought he got you.
Light fades out, and Linnea Donovan steps out of bed. What does she look like?
So, oh my God! Okay, so,
Find out after the break. No, I'm kidding.
So she's young, about 22, and she has her mom's icy cold blue eyes. However,
Filled with hate.
no, very innocent still, but otherwise much darker skin, like an olive tone, and black hair, although it's all shaved off. And she has a very tall, muscular build, like a CrossFitter who meets a ballet dancer. So
I can see it.
she's,
I can see it.
Yeah, me too. And unbelievably graceful when she moves, but still with confidence. She carries herself. Complete control of her body.
You step out of bed, and walking to the kitchen sink, you pour yourself a glass of water when suddenly there's a little whoosh sound near the front door of your apartment. Without hesitation, you grab a laser pistol.
That's what her doorbell sounds like.
Oh, it wasn't a doorbell. Pay attention. It was a whoosh.
I tried to do the whoosh. I was covering.
I tried to do the whoosh.
I tried to do the whoosh every time.
Leave
him.
Leave old Gil alone. He's trying to do the whoosh.
No, it's not a doorbell. It's something like sounds like something was coming from your door. You grab a pistol, laser pistol, and you walk slowly towards it. And as you walk towards it, you see a piece of paper on the ground near the door. And it's a flyer with your mother's face on it. You know your mother's passed. And these flyers have been all around Absalom Station. Without hesitation, you open up the door and you look to the left and your right, think, is this some sort of joke? You're ready to take somebody out. There's no one there.
What are the flyers again? Are they like, remember Mac?
It says remember.
Just remember.
Yeah, picture of Mac's face. Remember.
Right.
Remember the cant.
Remember the cant. Remember the Mac.
Does it say anything else on it?
Well, you come back in and you're about to crumple the paper up and throw it away, but you notice that there is writing on the back. It says, the Driftrock 5 know more than they say. The truth lies here. And then there's a set of coordinates.
Oh.
Now, most of the coordinates in and around Absalom Station are pretty recognizable to you. You know these are not in the Pact Worlds. Something about these coordinates, you just know, is somewhere in the vast. You flip the paper over, and there's that picture of your mother with the words remember. Zooming out of that same image now, we see that that piece of paper is wedged into the window of a cockpit.
That's right. We saw this.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But now this ship is in space. This little one-seater is in space, and at the helm of the ship is Linnea Dunnebetter. But now she's not boarding it or flying through. She's slamming her fists on the dashboard, clicking various switches off and on. A voice comes on. Power core at 14%, oxygen levels at 20%. You think to yourself, what just happened? This all happened so fast. You play it back in your head. You felt like you were making a good pace in the drift when all of a sudden a massive ship appeared out of nowhere. Shots were fired. You were hit hard and you knew there was only one way out. So you transferred all power to the drift engine and shunted yourself out of the drift before being destroyed, boarded, or who knows what by this other ship. But you used too much power. You got out, but now you're just floating in space, in the middle of nowhere. Less than an hour before losing all oxygen. What's going through your mind?
Well, I mean, it's an awful, awful way to die. It's one of my biggest nightmares, but I think...
Dying in a
Dying
ship.
in a spaceship.
Every night I lay awake.
Well, didn't you guys see
worrying
Gravity?
about that very specific
Gravity
thing
was
happening
terrifying.
to me.
Yeah.
You know,
And that's why you're not becoming an astronaut?
well, my...
Skid reaches over like...
I think you'll be all right.
Well, now when I was explaining to you, my second worst fear of death is dinosaurs, a T-Rex eating me. So that's also realistic.
That's a little bit more
You
likely.
got some weird fears.
Avoid space, avoid dinosaurs.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's great,
Well,
Grant.
I mean, it's a hard life.
Life
more
holds
likely.
no true fear for you.
Okay,
How do
well-
you feel about the common cold? Because that could kill you.
Well, Anyway, no, it's good. It's good.
No thoughts
Good
on
job,
it.
good
She's
job.
like, whatever.
But no, obviously, I think she is going through. I think she's unbelievably sad about it ending like this because this is against everything that she ever wanted. She wanted if she was gonna die, she wanted an honorable death with her compadres or whatever in the military where she's trained. Or like just finding out the truth about her mother. This is torture to her to just know that she failed to find out what actually happened to her mother, who she loved much more than anyone else. She had a very special relationship with Mac.
But didn't Mac have a complicated relationship with her daughters?
Yes.
Was this the best relationship she had among the daughters?
So she, she's the only, Linnea is the only one who sort of Mac stayed in touch with.
Still spoke to her.
Spoke to her, even told her about her new job at the Starfinder Society.
So this is not the daughter who had a baby?
No.
Okay.
No, not
Someone's
Camille.
been listening to the back episodes.
I love singing.
It's like I knew I was joining this podcast.
Yeah, but
we know what we're doing.
Yeah.
Professional.
I mean, so much better than me.
Yeah. You didn't listen to a single episode of this show before.
Not once did Ellie listen.
Not even read the book that you sent.
Wait, hold on.
The rule book.
Oh.
It was like a weird theory book. I don't know.
You came into episode 1 of the show having not listened to a single episode of the show.
I had
It's a
listened to
real-
like
Bold
episode
move.
50.
It's a real shame.
Ugh. I did listen to it. Yeah, but that's what's going
So
through.
that's what's going.
Not
Well-
the androids and aliens.
Well, she also thinks like, if there's a person named Troy LaValle, I hate him.
That's our last thought.
Right before we leave the scene, if ever
Yeah.
I come across
Inherited-
a human named
inherited trauma.
Troy LaValle, I'll shoot him where he stands.
It's real specific. Final thought. You see your oxygen level is now at 16%.
Probably not an uncommon
Well,
last
it's
thought.
not like he's not. It's not like he's
Throughout
gonna.
the packed world.
Not the
it's
first, won't be the last.
Exactly. He's not gonna give me any favors, anyways.
It really reminds me of Troy that he's so annoying that you could be an hour away from death and still just be thinking about him instead. Like just some
Not your
mean,
family.
just some fucking mean email he sent out earlier, and you're just like, God damn it!
Yep.
Even like millennia in the future, people will still be thinking that thought.
Yeah.
It will last.
I reread my emails 4 or 5 times, and then I reread them
And
after
the
I
fact
send them. I'm
you-
like, that was still kind of mean.
The fact you still send him means you're a sociopath.
I guess so. Is that
Yeah.
the definition?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, while she thinks of me, you see oxygen level 16%, 14%. You know you've got 45 minutes left, tops.
If this is gonna be another situation where you just kill her off and don't give me like a way to solve this.
Wouldn't that be amazing?
That would be the most amazing. Like I just took your character, new character introduction of all time. Like during the narrative, you die.
So messed up.
The intro
10%.
narrative.
Oh my god.
8%.
It is a good way to die, though. I've heard that like suffocating is a good.
No,
way to die.
wait,
No.
no,
You're
no, no.
flip-flopping on this death, Ellie, for a second ago.
No, but like
Question: if I off you here, will you actually leave?
I.
No. Tell
No,
me, tell
actually,
no.
I will stay and drink and say all the dirty things that you know will get you sued and the end of the network.
Well, oddly enough, just then a hailing frequency pops up on your nav screen. You see, you don't see any ships in the area, but you do see a frequency on your nav screen. See, now that's a sound that works for everybody.
It's a little late though.
Oh, that's good. It was good. Good job, Matthew.
It's still
You would've
going.
done that.
She hasn't answered the phone.
Oh,
yeah, pick it up.
Hello.
Hello.
You have one missed call.
No! Oh, damn it.
3%, 2%.
This character sounds a lot like Ellie.
Just using the phone uses the last 3%
Alright.
of the power core.
Mayday.
You answer the hail.
Yeah.
You know,
Mayday.
you hear a voice, a female voice, gravelly. We wondered if there was any life on there. Your ship's in bad shape,
Yes.
but I know people back home that would love to scrap it for parts. Who do I have the pleasure of speaking to?
My name is Linnea Donovan. Please, let's talk about this on board. Do you have oxygen on your ship? Because I could really use some.
We've only got 2% left. What an odd quandary.
That's why we were calling you. We were hoping you had some spare oxygen.
We'll see you later.
I'll gladly use some of your oxygen today.
Linnea Donovan.
Yes.
My name is Captain Alera Aquana.
Oh,
Of the 3 captains of the diaspora.
known badass.
Known badass.
That's how
Though
she
let it be
introduced
known,
herself.
she did lose in battle to us.
I've never lost in battle.
Roll a bluff check.
Don't listen to what anybody says. And today is your lucky day, Linnea Donovan. Here is what I propose. We save your life. We drop you off at the next system, but we get what's left of your ship in return. How much is your life worth, Miss Donovan?
Honestly, at this point, do whatever you want with the ship. But can you take me to... And can she send the coordinates to this person?
Sure.
So, boop, boop, Siri, send the
That
coordinates.
uses more percentages.
Yeah.
Wi-Fi signal.
Yeah.
You send the coordinates.
Yes.
This is where you're heading. We should talk on board, Miss Donovan.
Yes, please. Thank you.
All of a sudden, this much larger ship pulls into view, and eventually, aside of you, you see on the ship it says the Rusty Rivet.
I just remembered who else is on this.
That's exactly what I thought.
We're gonna have a good time tonight, Phil.
Oh, baby!
A tube extends from the hull of this ship and towards you. Your ship is too small to have like an airlock that it can connect to, so you kind of have to suit up and spacewalk over to the tube.
Oh, crap.
And unfortunately, it goes awry and you die. No, you suit up, you push off your ship, and just as if you're pushing off your ship, it just ka-thunk, a big metal, like a magnet comes down, locks onto your ship from their ship. You grab on to the tube and start using the handholds to pull up into their airlock. You get to the door, you open it, you go inside, just close it, it depressurizes. And then the other door opens. And as it opens, thank you, Matthew.
That was
Well
good.
Grant was
Matthew.
shocked.
It was on time.
I was trying to do the open. I was trying to do the other airlock.
That worked out well. There were multiple airlocks.
Nailed it. It opens, and standing right there is a rather surly-looking, enormous Vesk.
Oh.
Hello! Right this way! and he just starts walking. The Vesk just starts walking. I'm assuming you follow him, and he keeps walking you down the hallway to a room that you can clearly see is marked as a conference room. And he just turns and looks at you and says, "Wait here!" And then he leaves. Door opens.
I was trying to do the other sounds.
I want
Hold
to hear how long of a delay it is. Nice. So weird. The ship must be running out of oxygen.
It's rusty.
It's rusty. It's a rusty rivet.
Yeah.
Door opens and there's a.
So Matthew.
They hit the button and then they just stand there.
Hey, wait.
Like, this goddamn ship.
Come on,
Come on.
The door opens finally, and there's a long table, and you see what looks like perhaps a man sitting with his back to you, looking out the window. Vesk is gone, and the man turns around, and you see it's an android.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
And he just
Watch what you say.
He just looks at you. Oh, hello. The captain
Oh no.
will be with you momentarily. Please have a seat. I am the engineer of this ship.
Oh no.
My name is Q4, but you may call me Q for short. That will save you a ton of time.
Well, hello, Q. Thank you for saving my life.
Please have a seat.
And she takes a seat.
Door closes.
That's it from Q4?
No, he's
still-
looking around.
He's still in the room?
Yes.
Steer clear of him.
Keep your distance.
Keep your distance.
Your clothing. It does not appear to be the dress of the free captains of the diaspora. Where are you from? May I ask?
I'm from Absalom Station.
Curious.
Yes.
And what type of occupation did you have on this Absalom station?
Mostly. So I was studying in
Yes.
college, and so I was.
College?
Yes, I was hoping to apply to become part of the Knights of the Galarian, actually.
Knights of the Galarian.
Yes, but they denied my application, and so currently I'm out of a job. But I dance, so.
Oh.
Dude, I told you to watch what you say!
I know, but I want to see how far I can take this.
This dancing, is this a hobby or something you are paid to do?
No, I'm I would say it's been I would consider it more of an art of mine, recreational, something that makes me relax.
Yes.
But I have been paid to do it on occasions.
Curious. I should like to see this dancing. I have read stories about other worlds, and I am told in some worlds there is dancing where you are. And then the door opens. And a dusky-skinned pirate captain with an eye augmentation patch over her left eye walks in. Q, that will be all. Yes, Captain.
Nice to meet you, Q.
Oh, and nice to meet you. I should like to discuss this dancing sometime, perhaps later in my quarters, where I keep my money. And then he gives you a really awkward android wink that lasts a little too long. Q, that will be all. And he leaves.
That's my buddy.
The captain comes in, sits down at the end of the table. You are a long way from home, Mrs. Donovan.
Yes, yes.
This is these coordinates here. This is where you want to start your new life. A woman without a ship so far from home. You will have to start over.
Well, I have honestly nothing to lose. I'm on a mission. You see, I'm looking for the answers regarding my mother's death. But more than that, I don't feel comfortable sharing. And I hope you understand.
Oh no, I understand. My mother died when I was 2. I never knew her, but I'm sure if I did, I would be sad as well.
I see.
Thing is, we must get your ship back to Broken Rock. Time is money, and where you want to go is very far from Broken Rock. We have other cargo that we are dropping off there, so we are in a bit of a hurry. Your ship will get you to Broken Rock, but we will need much more to go to these coordinates. That system is very far away.
Well, you could potentially send the bill to my uncle. He's unbelievably rich. I'm sure you might have heard of him. They run a big beauty business back in Absalom Station.
Beauty business?
Yeah, it's
What is this beauty business?
His name is Keith Revla.
My uncle, Keith Revla.
Perhaps you've heard of him.
Uncle Sassoon.
Michael Maybelline.
Michael Maybelline.
Maybe she's born with it. Well, she's born with a fortune from her family, at least.
No, but we started off as a maple syrup company, but you might have seen my mom in commercials. I assure you, I am rich.
Are you saying you've got your hands in the pockets of Big Maple?
Can you imagine being alone on a ship of pirates and then using my mom was in commercials as a negotiating chip?
I think we have a deal. Miss Donovan, it sounds like a very convincing story, but how do we know that this uncle will pay?
At this point, I do believe that they think that I've been kidnapped, and so I think if you press them, they would pay.
That's a ransom. We aren't kidnapping you. We are free to drop you off at Broken Rock. You can fly home to your family.
I am not interested in that. But you can take whatever you have, whatever I have. You can take the ship for spare parts.
What is your uncle's name?
His name is Phil Donovan.
Phil Donovan.
Did you just make that up on the spot?
Wow.
You didn't
I
have
would have
his
never
name?
guessed.
Wow. Phil Donovan.
Hey, what up, Phil?
Could you imagine having an uncle or an aunt you just called aunt or uncle and never knew their first name? That'd be incredible.
She calls into her comm unit. Zekanoia, come here. The vest comes back. What? Do a search on this Phil Donovan.
And if he does,
He's in the beauty business.
Sounds like
Used to be in the maple syrup.
Beauty and maple syrup. Yeah, he got out of maple syrup.
Yeah.
Now he's in cosmetics.
yeah,
He
now
went from
it's,
syrup to pancake makeup.
now it's MAC Cosmetics.
Oh.
Oh.
And at that, let's hear a word from our sponsor.
Back cosmetics.
Mac Cosmetics.
It'd be
Oh,
great if
no.
it actually was. The vest comes in and then leaves to go check on Phil Donovan.
Wait, what?
Beauty.
Oh, right.
Beauty and
MAC Cosmetics.
Beauty and maple magnate.
beauty maple magnate.
Say that 3 times fast.
Mac Cosmetics really does roll off the tongue.
I did
I
this.
like it.
We will look into this Phil Donovan and we will see if perhaps a deal can be reached. If not, we leave you a broken rock and you find your own way to these coordinates. Very, very, very far away.
Fine.
Drift engines cost money. Corina calls on her comm. A Lashunta, female Lashunta, comes to the door. We have one set of quarters here, Miss Donovan, and they are occupied right now. But how are you with kids?
As in children?
No, as in baby goats. We're dropping off 45 baby goats to Broken Rock. I'll need you to herd them.
We got a lot of baby goat cargo on this run.
Unlike my mom who had 7, I have actually never had a child. I'm not particularly comfortable with kids, but I'm not bad for them.
Well,
For them. I'm not a monster.
I'm not a, yeah.
I beat them on sight. All right. Perhaps you'll be sleeping here in the conference room until we work things out. You can figure it out yourself. Karina, show her the guest quarters. Miss Donovan, we will speak soon.
Thank you.
The Lashunta just doesn't look at you and motions back in the direction that you walked.
All right.
So you walk down the corridor from whence you came, and the Lashunta doesn't look at you at all, but just starts speaking. I don't know what the captain told you, but we found it in a similar situation to yours, waiting to die aboard a ship, a smuggler cargo ship, to be exact. Whoever it belonged to is either dead or gone, so we're bringing it to Broken Rock to start anew. She looks at you now, cold, piercing eyes, her antennae drift forward towards you. What other choice is there for a motherless child lost in the galaxy? Here are the guest quarters. And she just walks away. The door, another door opens.
The guest quarters.
They're closed.
I was anticipating.
So these doors are all over the place. We're only at 4% oxygen.
I mean,
It's an old ship. Good luck. And she leaves.
We'll all be dead in a matter of hours. Good luck.
She just leaves you alone in front of this closed door to the guest quarters. What do you do?
Oh, I'm curious. I'm gonna try to open it up. Knock on it.
Dum, 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 dum.
Sorry, Matthew.
He's so ready.
All right, go ahead. Another
So
door opens.
what do I see?
Damn it.
What the?
You open the door, and what does she see, Sydney?
It's
Are you a kid? Oh,
is it Baby Yoda? Oh,
Ah, fuck. Who told you?
Copyright. Cut the mic.
Cut the mic. Disney.
45 goats.
40. You see.
It's a goat orgy.
You see 45 goats.
Is it like a collective consciousness?
Yeah, that would-
all
Yeah.
45 goats
It's a
become one
swarm of
mind.
kids.
that'd be
Congealed
amazing.
together.
Wow.
It's monstrous.
Alien
They-
Archive 3, look it up.
They very
Kid swarm.
quickly put on their trench coat.
We are the Barg.
You see, not goats. You see on a bed in the corner, there is a young. You're not sure if they're human. They've got long hair, long brown kind of shaggy hair. They're sitting on the bed cross-armed, kind of just looking down away. Looks up when the door opens, and you see these black eyes. And they are a kid. They're young looking. You don't know how old. They're in average clothing, nothing fancy, no armor. And they look up and they say, "Oh, are you coming in the room?
Oh,
Do I have to leave?"
No, please stay. I'm sorry, I didn't realize. Hi, how are you? My name is Linnea. I'm also a passenger of this ship. Who are you?
My name's Callum. I thought this was my room. Sorry, I could get up if you have to get in.
No, absolutely not. I'll sleep somewhere else if that's so. But they just told me to come in here, and I wasn't sure if. But of course, if you feel uncomfortable, I'll.
No, I'm not on the ship. I'm not from. There's another bed.
We can share a room. How does that sound?
Yeah, cool.
And then Linnea, unbelievably awkward in the presence of a child because she's basically close to a teenager as well. So she's just like sits on the bed and looks at Callum. So how was your day?
Callum bursts into a fit of laughter.
We're in space, you idiot.
The floor is littered with jib
Day?
wrappers.
What do you mean?
You're both on
day?
a pirate ship.
It's like any old
I
day.
almost died.
Yeah, you're found on a dying ship.
He maybe he does actually laugh. He's like, nobody asked me that.
Oh.
I've had a long day. What day is it?
That's a good question. I guess I've had a pretty long day myself. And she looks at her comm unit. What day is it, Troy?
And then we look at Troy.
The space equivalent of Wednesday.
Yeah.
That's toil day's Tuesday.
Wheeled day.
Wheel
Wheel
day. Wheel day.
day.
Wheel day.
Wheel day.
Wheel day. Yes.
Wheel day.
How appropriate.
Just hey, just go with it.
Okay. Wheel day.
Can't wait till Whoa Day.
Oh my
Boy.
Wheel and woe.
Thanks.
So
That's great.
got
I
it.
was actually
get
floating
outta
in
here.
space.
Let's go get a drink.
I'm currently role playing
having-
here. We're
Yeah,
having a
let's-
goddamn
let's-
serious
Ran-
conversation.
Ran and I had a moment.
Oh, God.
Yeah, why don't you leave?
Yeah. Ooh.
Ooh.
Oh.
All right,
No.
so we
Sorry,
left you
Grant.
at wheeled day.
Yeah,
Wheel day, yeah.
Wheel day.
Trying to connect. Linnea just tries to. They found me floating in space. I had an accident with my ship, and so they were kind enough to bring me on here, and hopefully they will take me to my destination.
Callum looks up when you say that you were also stranded in space because what a weird coincidence.
Mhm.
This is a rare, very rare thing.
Yeah, especially considering the size of space.
Right, to
Yeah.
run
Yeah,
into.
found on the same day.
It's like New York City when you're
Might
walking
be
down the
Troy.
street and you see a friend and you're like, the size of the city, and we're
Yeah.
both on First Ave. So he actually turns and he swings his legs over the side of the bed, and he's very lanky. He's very lanky. His skin is like kind of grayish, and he sits and he leans over the bed and he says, "You were floating in space?"
Yeah, for a long time, and for a second there I thought, or actually for a pretty long time, I thought I was done for. But in the last moment, they just appeared from nowhere, and I'm so. I don't know if I was lucky or if. And she holds a pendant around her neck, which is a little maple syrup bottle.
It's adorable.
And she's
The
like,
family fortune
The family fortune.
around the neck.
And she's just like, I think she's still with me. My mom, she passed away recently, and that's why I'm here. I need to find out the truth. It's a brutal world out there. I don't know how. May I ask? What? I don't think I've seen your race before.
Whoa.
Easy,
Whoa.
Eleanor.
It's only wheeled there.
You just met.
Callum is not offended because there's many alien races, and this conversation probably happens often in space.
Yes.
Out at the clubs.
on Woe Day.
Hey, baby, what's your race?
I ain't never seen no race like you before.
I didn't think it could get worse.
Downhill from here.
Ellie did it. Ellie did it.
Did nothing. She did not.
She
Okay.
knew what she did.
Try saying ancestry.
There you go.
time.
That's right.
Oh my
Try
god.
saying ancestry.
You could say what planet am I from?
Yeah. Or what's your DNA?
What's your sign?
Well, I just happen to have a report from Ancestry.com.
So let me pull it out. He brushes the hair out of his face. It's like down to his shoulders. He brushes it out of his face, and he says, "Oh, a Berthani."
I think I know that.
Do you?
Me, Ellie, not.
Yeah,
my
I don't
name.
know it.
Berthani are they are from the planet Versus.
Oh, Versus. Oh, yeah.
Versus from the
Versus.
planet
Versus.
Versus.
Yeah, the one, the tidally locked planet.
Pact
the
Worlds.
one- yeah.
Exactly.
It's a packed world, yeah.
Pact Worlds, yes.
You're very nervous. Like, are they packed
It's the
signatories?
one where one side of it is always day, and
Because
one
if
side's
not,
always night. And
pull
then
her out the airlock.
No.
And they
Poor boy.
the Verthani are very lanky. They're like very tall, lanky. They have these beady black eyes.
Are they the ones
They're
that
like,
kind of look like a stereotypical alien?
No, they
No.
look
No.
humanoid. They look
Okay.
They're like belters.
Yeah,
probably,
yeah.
right?
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Aren't the
That makes sense.
stereotypical aliens in Starfinder still called Greys?
Yes.
Aren't they Greys? Yeah.
I believe that's-
think
yeah.
So, yeah.
if that's what you're thinking of. And he says, I was actually floating in space too.
Really?
Yeah, I was on a ship, and yeah, they found me, and I was also running out of oxygen, so I thought I was pretty gone too. So kind of a crazy coincidence when you think
That
about
is
it.
an insanely crazy coincidence.
And also, when you talked about your mom, his expression completely changed.
Ah.
He looked extremely somber, just like a shot to the heart.
Why were you in space?
Oh. He gets very quiet. I was sold to smugglers. I was working for them.
You were working for smugglers. How? I perceive you as very young. Are you? How young? How old are you?
I'm 14.
14. And this infuriates Linnea so much. So they hired basically a young child to do their dirty work. So what happened to them?
They're gone.
As in dead? Or did they leave you?
They just disappeared. I checked the ship and then they were gone, and I don't know how to pilot a spaceship. So I was just stuck. But this ship came along and they took me on, and I'm just trying to find a job to get some money. So I think they're taking me to Broken Rock. Have you ever been there?
No, unfortunately I have not, but do you have any family?
No.
Anyone we can contact? And Linnea just rubs her eyes and just like, should I bring this child with me or should I? I was wondering, I'm going somewhere, just as an information mission, if you will, and you can come with me if you want, and then we'll go back to Absalom Station together, and we'll figure something out. If that sounds interesting to you, I wouldn't want you to be alone, especially not. I didn't get a very good sense of the other people on this ship, especially the captain. The android seemed fine though.
He seemed lovely.
Yes, very interested in art.
Yeah, didn't he seem great? He seemed really well versed.
Yeah. He's
Very inquisitive.
Very interested in
Flashes
art.
back to the run-in with Q and Callum. No.
Where I keep my money.
The birds and the
Money.
bees. Oh. Callum kind of like shrinks away a little bit when you talk about taking him with you, and he just gets quiet again. He goes, "Oh, can I think on it?"
Oh, of course, absolutely. I don't want to put you in trouble. Where I'm going is potentially incredibly dangerous. Can you fight?
Fight?
Otherwise, it's time you learn.
Would you teach me?
I can teach you a couple of things, but really, I could. If you came back to me to Absalom Station after all this is done, I could potentially hook you up with one of my teachers.
In a school?
Of course. You haven't gone to school? Oh, of course. I'll teach you some things, if you're interested.
I'll think about it.
Of course, no pressure.
What a snob. You haven't been to school. It's a building where you learn. We'll discuss it back at Absalom.
It's like every time I meet someone from like one of the Ivy Leagues, and they're like, "Oh, okay." You know.
Oh, you went to college?
Yeah.
I went to a university.
Oh, you went to Uppsala Tech.
I'm not giving.
They have a really good
That's pretty
basketball
good.
team.
It shows
though.
that I listen to you. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, but honestly, that's true to your character. You came from money, bunch of rich kids. Mac was a diplomat. There was money galore. You just assume,
And a commercial actor.
and a commercial actress to boot.
But that's the thing that's so funny. She wasn't in that commerciol. She
You
just
lied.
looked like the woman who was in the
You
commercial.
lied.
And yet, her daughter's still carrying around a pendant with the maple syrup thing on it.
Wait,
Because her mom looked like the woman in the commercial.
Kid families are complicated.
That's true.
I
I shouldn't judge.
I like to think that her mother gaslit her into believing that she was in the commercial.
No, honey, that's me.
That's me.
That's me.
There's mommy.
It's
This
like
is my
my
royalty check.
Yeah, I like that story.
Yeah, exactly. It's like my dad is like, Daniel Craig has the same eyes as me, and I'm like,
Where are we going with this, Dad?
oh man.
No, leave your shirt on, Dad.
All right, so you guys chat away throughout the night, get close to each other. Obviously, he lets you crash in the room. And you're not bothered for a while until the next morning. And, wake up! Vest comes in. The captain wants to talk to you! And he just walks away. Do you follow?
Do you want to stay here, or do you want to come with us?
No, I'm gonna come.
All right.
That guy's kind of.
Yeah, it's a little intimidating.
Yeah.
But don't worry. And she puts on her like cool armor and just like
Badass.
no one fucking messes with this girl.
He
And
walks
then
behind you.
yeah, and so she walks after the Vesk.
I know if he's got any human boyish tendencies at 14, she puts on like a bunch of armor. He's got to be like,
Yeah. In his head, he's like, "This is so cool. So cool."
I got you, kid.
love it.
I've always wanted to be like a cool mentor's big sister.
That's why we play role-playing games.
And I've always wondered about playing with a kid. Nobody's ever been a kid, right?
That's such a. Oh, I love it.
It's
I love it
scary,
already.
though.
Oh, it's
scary.
horrifying.
All right, so the Vesk leads you to another room. It's not the conference room, but it's a similar type setup, and the captain's already there. The captain says, thank you. I actually just meant you, Miss Donovan, but it's fine, Callum. No, it's fine, Callum. Come on in. This doesn't really involve you, but Miss Donovan, suffice it to say, we spoke to your family, and we have a deal in place. If you want to know more details, we can get into it, but the long and short of it is we can take you to this system.
Fucking assholes.
We will keep the sheep as well, and we will take I said sheep.
I know. I was like, I thought they were goats.
Yeah.
I thought they were goats.
Sheep. Ship.
That's how we say
Keep
ship.
the sheep as
We're
well.
gonna keep the sheep as well.
Sounds vaguely like when you imitate Italian people.
Look at the sheep.
That's just Troy.
Muppet and I. We will keep the ship as well, but we will take you to your destination. Callum, obviously you have nowhere, you're in no hurry. If it is all right, we will be taking Miss Donovan to her destination, and then we will be all returning to Broken Rock together.
I thought you were going to say, Callum, you have nobody and no rich family, so...
Airlock.
You're stuck here.
Airlock with the goats.
Linnea, when she says that to Callum, Linnea wants to. Will you just leave him at the Broken Rock? He has no family or anyone who can look after him.
You just described most of Broken Rock.
How about a job here or something?
My crew is full. As you can see, we only have one guest quarters.
Callum, I don't feel comfortable with dropping you off at Broken Rock. I've heard rumors.
I'll be fine. I can't. I'm not concerned.
My dear, most of the greatest pirates that ever came to Broken Rock share Callum's story.
Absolutely not. There's no path for you forward at Broken Rock, or with no offense, people like this.
I'm offended.
Oh.
Wow.
Wow.
I will teach you about the world. I will teach you how to fight. I will teach you how to protect, and most of all, I'll teach you honor.
Listen, you're really nice. I want to learn how to fight. But I also gotta work. I gotta find a job. So
I'll provide for you. Somehow.
Phil.
Entry-level job at Phil's office.
Uncle Phil.
Yeah, exactly.
Mailroom.
I'll be our next
Get your job with Uncle Phil.
commercial actors.
You're going to take over the Twitter for the makeup
Exactly.
factory.
You'll be social media manager.
Anybody can do that job.
We need someone with their finger on the pulse of
I've
social
always
media.
wanted to be a social media manager.
A Gen Zer that really knows how these things work these days. Someone who can talk in GIFs and be real sassy at that Wendy's Twitter.
Who likes cat memes? Stupid. He does. He's like looking back and forth. He feels like I'm like torn. Like he's like
You're in a rough position right
don't
now.
know. So he just says, "Okay," and he doesn't look at anybody. He just goes, "Okay,
Perfect. He's with me.
okay." Again, not looking at anyone.
I
Just,
could see myself doing that as a kid in that situation. Just like adults around me are like, they have a higher rank than me. I don't know what to do.
Right.
Man,
Wow.
It's like divorce court.
I was just thinking that.
Kramer versus Kramer.
Yeah.
All right, now you have to choose your mommy or your daddy. Which is it going to be?
I mean, really, even she seems trustworthy, she's not that. Doesn't seem that savvy. She's a young person herself. She's a youth herself.
I know.
right.
And I love that we don't know anything about his abilities yet. I'm encouraged.
Or yours.
Or
We don't know.
yours.
Or yours.
Well, we know that I'm a badass.
You're good at talking children into following you into certain death.
Right.
That seems to be your only apparent ability at this moment, Ellie.
I'm on a
Yeah.
terribly dangerous mission. Child, come with me.
Oh.
Exactly.
So you're Batman.
Yeah.
Perfect.
A
There
mix
are
of
worse
the
things.
Pied Piper and Batman
There are
together.
worse
Yeah.
things to be.
Well, for Captain Aquana, she doesn't really have a horse in the race. She's planning to take Callum to Broken Rock afterwards. Doesn't really care. And for you, a deal has been made that is going to keep her happy for a long time. So with that, we move forward in time. And eventually,
Matthew.
not long after.
Move forward in time, so.
Yeah, can I get that move forward in time?
It's a
Swam.
Oh.
Now we're at the end of book 6. You
Too
went too
Wow.
Too far back up.
all the fun we've had, all the deaths. Anyway,
Sirenscape sound.
And the lawsuit.
and the lawsuit,
Yeah.
and that one lawsuit. Anyway,
It's not long after that you feel the drift engines kick in, and they make their way. I mean, she has agreed to do this. She wants to drop you off and get back to Broken Rock. So they enter the drift.
This is no joke. This has to be a serious amount of money to just like go in the drift. It's incredibly dangerous.
That's how much Uncle Phil hated her.
Yeah.
Just get her as far away as possible from the family.
Right, it's not returning her. It's not like a ransom. It's money to get her further into space.
Oh, yeah. Uncharted space. Perfect.
Well, we don't know.
Throw away
what
the coordinates.
agreement was. We don't know the agreement, but
Yeah, she
You're going
didn't
to take
say
her
what
to
the
the
agreement
past and
was.
drop her
True.
off?
Maybe it wasn't money
How
at
much
all.
you need?
exactly.
Scratch my back. Enter the drift. And, X amount of time passes.
Damn it.
This is 30 seconds long.
He said time passed.
Both of you look out the window throughout this drift travel, and you see just the same thing that the crew of the Sarissa saw during their long journey, just chunks of broken monuments floating in space. Things that defy the imagination. Football field-sized,
Football fields.
Football fields.
Just floating.
Just chunks of cities.
1-to-1 scale.
1-to-1 scale.
Football size. Football field.
Football size field. Football size field.
The pass is going 100 yards. So easy.
Is that Steve Young?
Oh, didn't you hear? Steve Young was torn into the drift 3 years ago.
Hell of a way to go.
1998 NFC Championship game. I never knew that.
I know what happened here. Can I call a bookie?
Is there a bookie in the drift?
Oh
my God.
Yeah. It's 49ers and Giants or whatever it was. And eventually,
Sydney, are you familiar with Steve Young?
I'm just laughing.
laughing at the idea.
I'm like, ha, sports. I know. Steve Young's a man.
Yep.
That
So
is-
is Larry.
that's
All right, enough then. I get it. I fucking
He's
get
also
it.
an attorney now.
Good
Yeah.
for him.
He's also a direct descendant of Brigham Young.
It's true.
Didn't know that.
I didn't know that
He had
either.
special dispensation to work on Sundays
Really?
because the tithes were so big.
Yeah, right.
Well, you're in the drift. You see the 1997 NFC Championship game. It's weird. You pull out Gray's Sports Almanac. You're like, put it down. And then we come back to Dr. Friss, Dax, Wallow, and Kreska. You just moments ago saw Pigi picked up by 2 Drow and pulled into a portal that whisks out of existence.
Gives me so much anxiety.
In front of you is this building. I said there's a sweet smell in the air of the grass, this honey and melon smell. This dilapidated building in front of you. And the grass starts to wave back and forth, and now it's like really blowing hard, and you look up and you see a ship. And on the ship it says, the Rusty Rivet.
They've come to save us!
And we'll see you real soon!
Oh.
Folks, if you're watching live, we'll be back in just a bit. Otherwise, we'll see you next week!
I can't believe I have to wait a week. Like, what?